हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू इन्फिनिटी आईएएस एकेडमी। मैं इन्फिनिटी आईएएस एकेडमी के यूट्यूब चैनल में आपका दिल्ली के सेंटर से स्वागत करता हूं। एंड टुडे वी विल बी टेकिंग एन इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक विच रिलेट्स टू ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस, because this topic is in continuation with the topic that we did last time, which was about the Kyoto Protocol. So Kyoto Protocol, it relates with the greenhouse gas emissions. So the topic that we'll be taking is the greenhouse gases. Now greenhouse gases, they are simply the gases that trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere. So the gases, they are already present in the atmosphere, namely like water vapor, carbon dioxide, and the subsequent heating effect is known as the greenhouse gas effect. You might have heard about the greenhouse gas effect as it is a famous phenomena. Now this is a natural phenomena which is taking in the Earth atmosphere, and it has been going since millions of years. And because of this phenomena, the temperature of the Earth, it is able to maintain a temperature about 15 degrees centigrade. If the phenomena might have not been occurring, then the temperature that would have been occurring on the Earth was near about minus 16 degree centigrade. Now, if we want to explain more about the greenhouse gas effect, so you can consider a closed glass building, and you can consider that plants are growing in this the closed glass building in a controlled environment. Now what happens, the ground, when the sun rays they enter inside the glass building, the ground floor and the other inside components, they absorb the solar energy that enters the structure via the glass. That is the glass structure that is present. Now this is only for demonstration, right? So with the help of this demonstration, you will be able to understand the phenomena of greenhouse gas effect. Now moving ahead further. Now what happens after the sun energy, the solar rays, they enter the glass structure, and the floor and the other plants that are present in the glass structure, when they absorb the sun rays, it results into warming up and emitting of energy again as heat radiation with longer wavelength. Now what happens, the sun emits the radiation in the form of short wave radiation, and when the Earth reflects the radiation back into the atmosphere, it emits in the form of long wave radiation. So as the glass cannot transfer infrared radiation, this radiation, and in case of glass, the glass cannot reflect it. It's only the Earth that is reflecting the radiation back into the atmosphere. So the radiation, they cannot escape from the material, and as a result, the temperature inside the greenhouse gas, the greenhouse glass, it rises, right? And this sums up the greenhouse gas effect. And as I mentioned, that it is a natural phenomena. It has been going on since millions of years, and because of this phenomena, the natural life, the various organisms which have life in them, they are able to sustain on the planet Earth. Now moving ahead further, there are various kinds of greenhouse gases which are present in the atmosphere, namely are water vapor, the carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbon, carbon monoxide, fluorinated gas, perfluorocarbons, and then sulfur hexafluoride. These are some notable greenhouse gases which are present in the atmosphere. Now the most abundant gas, the greenhouse gas that is present in the atmosphere, is water vapor, right? And after that it comes methane. Now water vapor, it is present in the atmosphere, and the various sources also, that evaporation and other, they are the important sources of the water vapor. Methane, that it comes, the major sources of methane is from the rice field, and also from the ruminant animals, the animals when they consume whatever they are eating, they are also the emitter of methane in the atmosphere. Now there is this annual greenhouse gas bulletin which is published by World Meteorological Organization. So you need to remember this organization. Now what they have said, that there is no sign of reversal of the upward trend responsible for the climate change, sea level rise. Now these all are the after effects of the climate change that will be taking as a result of the global warming. Now global warming is a very pressing issue, and as a result of global warming, the climate change is taking place, and the major reason behind is that that the average temperature of the earth is rising. Now we'll be discussing more about global warming subsequently in this lecture itself. Now there are many the after effects of the global warming. Some of them are sea level rise, ocean acidification, extreme weather. Now all these listed after effects, now they also have their after effects. Like in case of ocean acidification, the acidity in the pH level of the ocean, now it will vary. Now what happens is that because of this, the shells, the animal that have got the shells, now they start breaking up. Also the coral reef, they also start dying out. Now there are other effects which are related to the egg laying animals. When what happens is that the layer of the egg, now it also it starts breaking up. Now this will give rise to the birth of the premature babies. Now these are some after effects of the climate change. Now this report, that is the annual greenhouse gas bulletin, it only talks about the concentration and not about the emissions. Remember this. Now concentration, they differ from emission in the form that they represent what is remaining in the atmosphere after the some of the gases they are absorbed. Now as I mentioned that the sun rays, when they come, when they are when the sun emits the rays, so some of the rays they are reflected back, some of the rays they are absorbed, some of them are refracted. So they are absorbed by various the structures like buildings, by seas, by land, by the various plants. So this is what I'm talking. This is what is written over here when it is absorbed by the sea, land, and trees. Now there is a difference between concentration and emission. So you need to remember this also. Now methane, talking about methane, I mentioned that methane is the second most important greenhouse gas. Now its emissions forms the 60% comes from the human activities like cattle farming, rice cultivation. I mentioned this also. Now there are various experiments and techniques which are going on. Now these techniques and experiments, they are going on in order to reduce the methane emissions. Now these are still in the research stage, the trial stage, and whenever there will be any development, that will be a good sign for humanity, as they will be able to curb the emission of methane in the atmosphere. Now the levels of methane are 257% of what they were at the time before. Now global warming. Now global warming is the very pressing issue that is taking place right now. Now it is the result of increase in the number of greenhouse gases which are already present in the atmosphere. Now when these greenhouse gases they are present in normal quantity, then there is not a problem, because they are also essential for the greenhouse gas effect to take place. But when their concentration or their number increases, then it leads to global warming. Now that was in simple words which I have told you. Now global warming, it occurs when carbon dioxide and other air pollutants collect in the atmosphere and absorb sunlight and solar radiation that have bounced off the Earth's surface. Now this is the same thing where I told you that greenhouse gas effect, it also runs on the same phenomena. Now what happens in normal scenario, these radiation would escape into space, but when these pollutants they increase in number, they are getting absorbed. As these pollutants, they have the life phenomena is they can last up to many number of years in the atmosphere, and they trap the heat and cause the planet to get hotter. Now because of this, the average temperature of the planet is rising. Now this is known as global warming, and these heat trapping pollutants are known as the greenhouse gases. Now in normal numbers, the greenhouse gases, they are fine, they are essential also. But when their number increases, their concentration increases in the atmosphere, then they lead to global warming, because they trap the solar the radiation which is reflected from the earth, and as such the altogether the average temperature of the earth rises or increases. Now since the industrial revolution, the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere has been increasing steadily. Now this is the concentration, the presence of carbon dioxide at the time of industrial revolution in the year 1750. Now this is increased to 406 in 2017. This is not the latest figure. The latest figure, if any of the student they are aware about the latest figure, they can comment about the latest figure in the comment box. Also, now the reason why the rapid increase in the CO2 concentration is because of the anthropogenic emission. That is why it is said that human beings are very much responsible for global warming and the climate change which is taking place. Now the various reason why the concentration of these gases are increasing in the atmosphere, the various reasons are like the vehicular emissions, the emissions from the coal power plant. Now in order to curb these emissions, what humanity is doing now, various the countries, what they are doing, they are shifting to the renewable sources of energy, and as a result of the shift from the conventional sources to non-conventional sources of energy, the footprint, the carbon footprint, it will decrease, and we'll be able to curb the emissions, the pollution also, and as a result, the phenomena of the climate change, it can be controlled, or the expected temperature by the end of this century, which was around 2 degrees centigrade, or in the worst case scenario, it was around 3 degrees centigrade, that can be saved, and it can be limited up to 1.5 degrees centigrade as per the Paris Climate Agreement. Right now, the impact of this I have already mentioned. It will be the melting of ice caps, the increased occurrences of El Nino, and as you know that whenever El Nino occurs, mostly it has been that the drought conditions will prevail in India, right? So this will be the impact, and also it will lead to rise in the sea level, and where in case if it leads to rise in the sea level, as it has already been witnessed in the case of Indonesia, as they have shifted their capital from Jakarta to the other place. And also in India, there are many coastal cities. They'll also be witnessing this problem of sea level rise. So we need to control and curb the emission, and it will also lead to loss of ecosystem like marshes and swamps. So students, this was all from our side in terms of this lecture, which related to the greenhouse gases. So for more updates relating to the environment and for your GS3 mains preparation, you can subscribe to our channel, that is Infinity IAS Academy on YouTube. And for more updates, you can press the bell icon. So that was all from our side. Thank you.